Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video of me showcasing some more digital adaptations of board games. In this one, we are going to be looking at Smallworld. If you don't know what Smallworld is, don't worry, it's very easy to pick up. The turns are very basic, there's just a lot of strategy in terms of how you use the different civilizations in the game. If you don't know what it is, basically think of Risk, but instead of controlling traditional armies to try to conquer the world, we're going to be on a very small map, hence small world, controlling armies of fantasy races that have a variety, a myriad of different abilities that break the game in different ways, and basically whoever can conquer the most land and collect the most points wins. So we'll get into it. I'll explain the game as we go along. So let's just quickly set up a game here with a couple of AI. I'll go first, just so I can sort of explain things without the AI doing things. So, I'll get rid of this, 1 second. Right, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to get a more thorough explanation of the rules before I kick in, because there might be some things I forget. But basically, this is the map of Smallworld. We're going to be conquering this land with our units of whatever civilization or race that we decide to pick. And it's very simple. When you go onto the board, you have to enter from the outside. These sea spaces and the lake space don't count, but you can enter from, enter into one of the land spaces beside one of the sea spaces if you want. Anyway, you have to enter from the edge on your first move, and then thereafter, the only rule is you have to conquer a space that is directly adjacent to a space that you already control. The cost to go into each of these spaces to conquer it is 2 tokens. Now, if you don't know what tokens are, I can show you. So these are the list of all the different civilizations. I'll go through them very quickly in a second. But basically, when you pick your race or your civilization you're going to use, each race comes with its own sort of military strength, which is this number here at the bottom right corner. So the dwarves are quite weak. They've only got 3. But then they're also paired with a special power. And the special power also comes with a military strength. So you just basically add the 2 numbers together, in this case 5 plus 3, 8. I would pick up, if I was playing the physical board game, I would take 8 dwarf tokens. And in the game, the digital version is exactly the same. So if I had 8 of these tokens, I can start conquering space on the board. So in order to conquer any space, there is a base cost of 2, and then there's an additional cost of 1 token for every other token that is inside that space that you're trying to conquer. So for example, if I want to conquer a mountain, because there's this mountain token on top of it, that is 3 tokens in total, 2 base plus 1 for the mountain. If I want to conquer one of these spaces with one of the grey squares in them, they sort of represent ancient civilizations. Again, it would cost 3 to go to one of these, 2 base plus 1 for the ancient civilization. Once you conquer the space of ancient civilization, the civilization token disappears from the board, so it's not there forever. Once the map becomes a lot more populated, and you start trying to conquer spaces with enemy tokens in them of other players, it's the same thing. So if I wanted to try and attack one of the bots, and they had 3 of their 3 tokens inside a certain space, if I wanted to conquer that space, I would need 5 of my tokens, 2 base plus 3 to sort of fight against their army. And that's how it works. Once I've conquered on my turn as much land as I want to or can, it depends on strategy, then I basically pass and it goes on to the next person. Once I basically, after maybe 2, 3, 4 rounds, it just depends on how the game is going, if I believe that my civilization cannot conquer any more space, then I go into decline. And then the next turn, I can pick up a new civilization. So there's quite a lot of rotation. You're not stuck with the same civilization for the whole game. If you don't like it, you can get rid of them, get a new one. If something really powerful comes up in the list, I'll show you in a second what the list looks like, and you want to get it before one of your opponents does, then you can go into decline early and then nab it from them. And that's how Smallworld works. Once we get into the game, it'll go by very, very fast. I've played this a lot with one of my best friends. We got the mobile app. So we do play quite a bit, although sometimes I do forget when I see the notification on my phone that he's done his turn. I'll be like, okay, I'll look at it later, and then 2 weeks go by and I haven't noticed it still, and the game defaults as his win. So yeah, I picked up the PC app. Played a couple times in real life too. It was really good fun. So anyway, so these are the lists. These are so at the start of the game, there are 6 races that become available. They basically rank from the top here with the mountain dwarves down. I can pick any of the civilizations I want, but there's a cost the further down the list you go. So if I want the dwarves, they're free. If I want the giants, which are underneath, then I have to pay a coin on top of the dwarf space. If I want the tritons, I have to pay a coin on the dwarves and a coin on the giants, and then and so on. And then if anybody else later on picks up the dwarves or the giants, then they would get the coin. So I'm basically giving up points in order to maybe obtain a race and special power combo further down that I want. And obviously once I start taking, once I take my the race and special power that I want, then everything shoves up one space in the list and a new race comes in at the bottom. These combinations between the races and special powers are completely random, so there's a lot of replayability with this game, and because there are so many expansions as well, there's just a myriad of combinations. So anyway, I'll quickly run through the civilizations for you and special powers. I've realised for some reason when OBS records this game that there is text here, but for some reason the text doesn't show, and I don't know why. It's very weird, but I'll quickly explain it to you. The dwarves, they want to conquer mines, so on this board you can see the little symbols everywhere. The ones which have mining spaces, the dwarves want to conquer them. I didn't explain, the way you get points in this game is for every space on the board that you conquer at the end of or you are in possession of at the end of your turn, you gain a point, a coin, basically. The dwarves, for every mine they occupy, they get a bonus coin. And that ability persists even when the dwarves are in decline. So when you go into decline, which I'll show you later, your tokens remain on the board. And normally their abilities disappear. However, in the case of the dwarves, they will still mine the mines even in decline, so they can get bonus points. That kind of makes up for the fact that they don't have many tokens to begin with. Mounted means if they conquer hill or farmland, they only need 1 base token to do it, not 2, which is a really nice buff. What else we got? Giants like to conquer mountains, so if they're on a mountain, then all the spaces adjacent to that mountain need 1 less token to conquer. Berserk means they have to roll the reinforcement die. I haven't explained what the reinforcement die is, you'll see in a minute. Basically, the reinforcement die is at the end of your turn. If you want to conquer a space but you don't have enough tokens, you can roll a die to try to make up the numbers, so to speak. But for them, they can roll the reinforcement die every turn. So there's a chance that they could conquer spaces on the board for a lot fewer units than they would normally do, so they can expand more. But the thing is, this die is not a normal die. It's 6-sided, but 3 of the spaces are empty, and then you've got 1 with 1 pip, 1 space or 1 side with 2 pips, and then 1 side with 3 pips. So yeah, this die doesn't really behave like a normal die. The Tritons, basically, if they like to be beside the sea, so they can conquer spaces beside the sea or the lake in the middle of the map for 1 less token. And they are flying, so basically flying breaks the rule about adjacency. They can basically hop all over the map and conquer any spaces they want. They don't have to be adjacent. The elves have an ability which means if their space is conquered by another player, they retain all of the tokens. I didn't explain this. So let's imagine I've got a space with 3 units sitting in it, 3 tokens of my race sitting in it, and one of the AI or one of my opponents comes along and conquers that space. I would have to throw away 1 of the tokens of mine permanently, and I wouldn't be able to use it in later turns, but I get 2 of them back. You always lose 1 if you get conquered. The way the elves work is, if their space is conquered, all of the elves return to your hand, not 1 fewer. So they don't run out of tokens as quickly as some of the other races do. And the forest ability is if they control any spaces which have forests in them, and you can see from the artwork it's quite obvious what a forest is, they gain an extra gold. The trolls, every time they conquer a space, they put down their layer. It's a little token you can put on the board, which basically adds the defense of that space if you want to try and conquer it. Those layers persist even if when you go into decline, so it's very hard for a player to come in and try to wipe through your declined units if you've got the trolls. And they've got the spirit. So the spirit ability basically means you can have two civilizations or races in decline at the same time. Normally you can only have one, but here you can have two, so that's kind of handy. The reason why declined units are useful because you get passive income. I'll show you when we get to it. And then we've got the sorcerers. We hate the sorcerers. My best friend and I hate the sorcerers. They're a pain in the arse. Basically what they do is they can convert enemy units. If there's just one lone unit in a space on the board which is adjacent to the sorcerers, they can just convert it to a sorcerer without fighting it. So it's a pain. And they're fortified. So this fortified ability means they can get, similar to the trolls layer, they can get a little fortress they put on the board. The fortress adds a defense to the space, and it also gives you an extra coin every single round that it's there until you go into decline. So yeah, this is really strong. I'm scared of this, but we'll see if the AI can use it properly. I don't know really what I want, to be honest. I think I want the Berserker Giants. I think that would be kind of cool. I don't want the Dwarves. Their few numbers really infuriates me. Their decline ability is not worth it. So let's just take the Berserk Giants and we can just roll the die loads of times, which is not normal. But as I said, all the abilities in the game kind of break the rules. Oh, look at that. I got 3 already. So that basically means I can conquer a space with an additional 3 units that I don't have. So it means, for example, if I want to conquer this mountain over here, normally I need 3 tokens. Because I've got the reinforcement die with 3 on it, I only need basically 1 unit. You always need the minimum. So I conquered a mountain space with only 1 unit. That's kind of OP. Because now I'm on a mountain, all the spaces around it need one token fewer. So I can get I only need 1 to conquer that swamp. I think I'll get onto this mountain. Did I get onto the mountain? No, I'll block this mine. Oh, that's better. Right. So because the reinforcement die helped me out, I'll go onto the mountain. I'll take this ancient civilization because I've got a bonus. Oh, I'm getting all the bonuses here. This is nice. Oh, wow, this Berserk is really working out for me. I'll conquer the mountain. Mountains are great because when you go into the decline, they're very hard to deal with because it's 2 base cost plus 1 for the mountain plus 1 for your tile that's sitting there. Most civilizations or races can't really afford to give up 4 tokens just to conquer 1 space. So I'm just going to go around all the mountains, basically. That's my plan. I think this is my last turn, right? Yeah. Well, that worked out amazingly. I've used all of my tokens, and they're really well spread out. So this part of the game now that I've got no more tokens left to conquer with, I can move all my tokens around to try and defend certain areas better. I need to have at least 1 token on each space. The thing is, because I've spread out so far across the board, I've only got 1 free tile to use. So I'll just keep it here and protect this mine, and hopefully the dwarves won't just go and nick it. We'll have to see. So that was a ridiculous first turn. I did actually record this video before, but I kind of stopped the AI, and I was like, well, I hope I can get... And also my voice was terrible because I was recovering from a cold. So I was like, well, hopefully I can get a bit of a closer game to showcase this. Yeah, after this first turn, it might not be that way, but we'll have to see. That is an incredibly good first turn. I might go into decline instantly. Because I can't really conquer much more. Alright, okay, so the dwarves decided to spend 4 tokens getting a mine. Somewhat annoying, but it's okay. So they got 4 points. So if you don't know, they got 3 because they're occupying 3 spaces, plus 1 for the mine. I realize there's a lot of information I'm throwing you. If you don't understand it all, don't worry. Once you get into it, it is fairly intuitive. Like all good games, the turns are very simple. It's just there's so much strategy in terms of all the possibilities and who you're supposed to conquer. So I've got to decide now because I've got this Berserk ability. I either roll the enforcement die to start the conquest, or I go into decline. I could roll a 3. I can only conquer 1 space. I've only got 1 token. That's not really worth it. if I roll a 3, I can really piss off these dwarves by taking one of these spaces. But I'm not going to risk it because there's a 1 in 6 chance. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to go into decline instantly, and I'll pick up something. I'm just seeing here there's some really strong stuff that's appeared in the list, so I'm just going to go into decline. So you see, now the giants are in decline, so the tiles flip over, so you can tell they're in decline because they're grayed out, but I still get points from them. As long as they're occupying these spaces, I'm getting 1 point a turn, so that's another 8 points in the bag.
Oh no!
When it goes back around to my turn again, I'll show you some of the other civilizations that have appeared in the list. They are pretty good. This could be quite a bloody game, I think.
Oh no!
You see the way the elves are doing it? They're spreading out all their units so they can better defend the low-lying areas, and then they don't need as many on the mountains. Mountains are easy to defend because of just the mountain tile. Right, so I get to pick from the list. So we've got the Tritons we've seen before, we got the Trolls that we've seen before, we got the Sorcerers that we've seen before. The Ratmen have now appeared. Ratmen have no ability, just because they have 8 starting units straight off the bat without the special power. Their sheer number is enough. They've got the Dragon Master ability. So the Dragon Master ability is you can just maybe got a pet dragon that you're running around with. You can conquer a region with a single token. So, for example, let's try and find a space. Right, this space with the elves, where they got 3 elves on here. I would normally need 5 of my own tokens to deal with this space. 2 base plus 3, for the elves. But if I put the dragon into this space, I only need 1 token plus the dragon. And because I've got a dragon there, that space is immune, so it cannot be conquered for the whole round. So wherever the dragon goes, that space is immune from being conquered, which is great. We've got the Amazons. So the Amazons are another race that are really good at conquering a lot of land. They don't have as many units as the Ratmen, but they gain 4 additional units for conquering. Once you do the whole redeployment stuff, where you're moving things around trying to defend, you have to take those 4 units off the board. But to conquer, you got a lot. You've got this. Oh, I'm going to mispronounce this. Oh, this is insane. I should have. It's one of these words which I can never remember how to pronounce. And then when I hear it out loud, I'm like, really? Is that how you pronounce it? It's the one with the tense. That's terrible that I'm saying that. I will find a way of pronouncing it. I'm so sorry for any people who are very efficient with the English language. I'm not even going to try. Anyway, basically what these things are, they're kind of similar to the fortress that we saw before. There's these little, you got 5 of them in total. So it's not like the fortress where you gain 1 fortress per round. With this, you just get 5 immediately, and you just throw them onto the board, onto any of your spaces, and it adds 1 defense. The cool thing is you can stack them, which is awesome. But they don't gain you any additional coins, just extra defense. So that's what they do. And then we got the orcs. So the orcs like to conquer spaces which are not empty. So if they conquer a space on their turn which isn't empty, they gain an additional gold. So for example, if I wanted to target this ancient civilization up here, I would gain 2 gold for that space. 1 for the space itself, and then 1 because it's not empty when I conquered it. They've been paired with the pillaging ability, which is basically the same ability as the orcs, again. So if I got this combo, I would gain 3 coins for every single empty space I conquer every single round. That's kind of strong, but the thing is, it's at the bottom of the pile. I don't want to pay 6 gold for it. So I've got a couple of different options. I might go the Tritons, just because it's at the top. I get a free coin. But then the Trolls could be really nice. I wonder how many of my giants are going to be around later in the game. So it means I could go into decline quite quickly with the Trolls. And I could have the Trolls and the giants active. And I can then quickly try to nab something else, like the Sorcerers or the Ratmen. Maybe even the Orcs. So I think I'm going to go for the Spirit Trolls. Yeah, this could be a very wacky game. The other game was a lot more vanilla. I know this is the base game, but in terms of like the combos weren't as extreme. Right, who do I attack? I kind of want to spread myself out thin again, so I can get as many layers down I can decline quickly. So I'm going to go this way. Get 4 spaces. Yeah. So I'll make sure that the mountain spaces only has 1. So this mountain space I've got here on the right hand side basically has a defense of 5. 2 for 2 base, plus 1 for the mountain, plus 1 for the lair, plus 1 for the troll token. So you need 5 tokens just to conquer it. Kind of nuts, to be honest. Yeah, they're very good at defending their land. When you go into decline, all the tokens of that race get removed from the board, apart from 1 per tile. Okay, dwarves are going to decline, no real surprise, to be honest. But they're getting 2 extra coin because of their mining ability. I dread to think what they're going to pick up.
Oh no!
I'm a little bit scared. Yeah, this is all really strong. I think I'm going to do 1 turn with the trolls and then decline. I can conquer 2 more spaces. I can't remember. Do these layers protect me from... I can't remember if they protect me from the sorcerer's ability. Oh, there you go. Let's see. I know you can't read this. Ah, no. A single troll taken with its troll layer is considered alone. So when you buy the physical board game, there is like a whole list of all these different races and abilities and explains very clearly what the different abilities do. I might lose a couple of these. If they take the sorcerers, I might lose a couple of these trolls, which is not ideal. Nope. Oh, I've got to deselect that. No. Ah, here. There we go, that's why. Oh. There we go. Solid. Let's just conquer the mines here. Somewhat redeploy my troops like this. Yeah. So I'm not generating a lot of gold in terms of, you know, I haven't got gold generating abilities, but if I just can conquer and hold down a lot of spaces. Uh-oh. The AI is going for the pillaging orcs. That's already 9 gold.
Oh no!
Right. So even though the orcs only controlled 3 spaces, they got 9 gold off that turn. Plus then what they got from the dwarves. Yeah, they just jumped straight to it, but it costs them quite a bit to pick that up. So if we can nullify this, then I should be okay. The elves are kind of doing their own thing down there. I don't know who I have to deal with. I don't really want the elves to be running around doing nothing. I might pick up the sorcerers, actually. So I'll be able to pick up at least 1 elf, I think, before they decline. I'm going to decline right now. Because I've got the spirit. I've only got 2 giants left. 3 giants left. It didn't go as well as I thought, but it's okay. So you see, so normally in a normal situation, those 3 giants would be taken off the board. You only have 1 declined race, but I've got 2. So 9 gold from everything decline is not that bad. Go the orcs.
Oh no!
Doing their thing. Yeah, my best friend and I have found that pillaging orcs is a very strong combo. Assuming they are able to, they can conquer a lot of space that is not very well defended. Really? The elves are still going?
Oh no!
I think that was a mistake. I mean, there's a couple things I could do here. I could take the sorcerers. I could also just take the ratmen and just... I'll have so many units, I'll just rinse through these orcs. And you know what? I think I'm just gonna do that. see the dragon in action. So I've got 13 units plus the dragon. Okay. All these spaces are equal. I just gotta make sure I count this correctly. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so I got quite a lot of the orcs down. And because all of those orcs were 2 orcs per space, one of them had to get discarded every time. So the red bot basically lost 4 units because of that. So they're going to have only 5 to conquer with. They're going to find it very difficult if I just keep all these rat men as they are. They might get lucky and conquer space. But, yeah, they're really weakening themselves, so... Sometimes in this game it's not about you trying to maximize your score, but trying to minimize what the opponents can do, because sometimes with a certain combo, they just run rampant. Okay, so the AI there's just done something really interesting that I didn't know you could do until I started playing on the digital version. The orc basically abandoned its remaining space here in the top left, and all of the tiles then went elsewhere on the map and conquered it from the outside. So that's why there are 2 orcs now down here. To be fair, they got 6 gold out of it, so it wasn't a bad move. I'm so surprised the elves are not declining. They're just going to burn themselves out, I think. Well, this is going to be very easy. I can conquer these 3 elves with the dragon. So I need 1 token to do that. A space that normally needs 5 to attack with the dragon, but I needed 1. So... try and conquer this dwarf. It'll be easier. Ah, failed. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just put lots of tokens here to sort of fend off the orcs. Yeah. Oh, we got like 15 points. That's not bad. Yeah, so basically what's happening here, because the elves lost a lot of units, they can quickly place them on the board before Redbot gets a turn. Which again was maybe something my friend and I didn't realise when we were playing it in person for the first time. This was a game that we just picked up. We had no idea what it was about. We were in a board game cafe and we just picked it up and just started playing it. And we probably got a couple of rules wrong, but all in all, it was fairly straightforward to grasp. Definitely just play the base game first, and then once you get used to all the combos, and then you suddenly realise, are you seeing the same combos kind of appear over and over, then you can go for the expansions. Right, time to take out the orcs again, I suppose. Oh, I can't conquer that space, Muppet. Oh, I didn't use the dragon. Oh, what a Muppet. Oh, oh dear. So that was a mistake, that was just a misclick. That's the thing then, if you're playing in real life you could probably mulligan that, but I didn't, so now this dragon is just sitting here, doing nothing. So, again, I'll just space out my Ratmen a bit. Again, if they're just sort of chipping away at the orcs and the elves, that's fine, but all my trolls on the right hand side are just doing a lot of passive work here. Yeah, I think this might be so then again the orcs are abandoning. But they haven't got many units, so they're running out of steam. Yeah. Yeah, they're only getting like half the amount of gold per turn I am. There's no, as far as I'm aware, there's no difficulty setting for the AI. Right, don't forget about the dragon. I'll just conquer all the orcs. How sad is that? Now what? I'll just conquer this empty space in here, to be honest. Yeah. try and take this elf out. Nope. Nope. Oh, wrong spot. There it is. So yeah, didn't have to go and pick up any other races. This can happen sometimes. You need to try and judge quite carefully when you go into decline and when you keep going. If you stay one turn longer, you might get decimated so much. But then sometimes you can keep a race on the board for ages. Yeah, it's going to run out of steam, unfortunately. I think when I play with my friend, it's a little bit more chaotic, because we often play with one AI or two. So the things will end up kind of taking each other on, and then the AI are just kind of running riot, doing whatever they want. Oh, same thing, I'll attack the orcs again. The orcs must be fed up of seeing that bloody dragon by now. No, failed. Okay. Yeah. Oh, they still managed to conquer it. Wow. Well, if there's anybody out there who is interested in playing Smallworld at some point, feel free to leave a comment on this video, or maybe ping me a message on Discord. Oof! Domination. I didn't upload the previous video because it was a bit of a stomp, but this was even more of a stomp. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah. Maybe the joys of going first. So what I can do in the next video, I can do it so that I don't go first. And you can then see maybe if I get pipped to a certain combo, how devastating they could be. To be fair, the yellow bot got all 96 points just from the elves. The fact the elves stayed around for that long was pretty impressive, but the fact they don't lose any units when they get conquered, yeah, that worked out pretty well for them. Mine was pretty well spread out between the three. But yeah, the trolls were only active 2 turns, but they just got a lot of passive gold for me. Yeah, and the dwarves actually did. The dwarves were just sitting there on the mountain mining all game. That's why. Orcs did get a lot of gold, but the thing is, then they just kept getting. I kept chipping away at their numbers, so they could not do that really big expansion that they wanted. So it worked out. So yeah, there's a lot going on in this game in terms of the different combos and things, but it's kind of one of these things where intuitively, once you know what all the sort of combos do. You don't have to look at them all at the beginning of the game. Just look at the first 6 that come out, and you with your gaming group around the table, you can just talk about them, and you'll kind of intuitively see which things look quite strong, which ones don't. There's some things which might surprise you. And again, a lot depends on how certain things go and who decides to attack who, right? You can just sort of go with the flow, and you can just play lots of games. It doesn't take very long. Obviously, in the digital app, it's very quick. In the digital app too, you can play async, which is really nice. So yeah, if you want to play with friends, you can easily do it where you can just start a game, they play a turn, and then later in the day you play the next turn, as long as you set the time limit to be high enough. So it provides a lot of flexibility. You don't have to sit there and play it live if you don't want to. As I said, there's loads of expansions out for it, which do lots of different things and lots of different abilities that I don't know about. I only really know the base game very well. So yeah, that's Smallworld, folks. Hopefully, if you discovered a new board game now because of this, then that's great. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will record some more and upload them over the summer months. I just wanted to showcase this game, just to show you something a little bit different. I've got a playlist on my channel of other digital board games, which you can check out. I'll leave a link in the description as well. And I'll see you in another video very, very soon. Take care, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to leave any comments below. And see you in the next one.